Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel. A live reaction and player ratings live stream following Chelsea 2, Borussia Dortmund 0. And we've actually done it. We've actually pulled it off. We won the game. We scored more than one goal. My God, what a nerve-wracking night it was. What a nerve-wracking night it was. We will be joined by some guests very soon. Adash is already here. I just thought I'd start this by myself. I will bring him in just a second's time. Oh my God, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. It's been a long time since I was this kind of, I will arguably say, emotionally dependent and emotionally invested into a game of football. My God, it was so tense. The only thing I didn't like is how from 2-0, we were kind of mostly defending it. Yeah, we could have won on the break still, but we could have scored another on the break still, but we were kind of defending the lead. And I was like, oh no, if this goes wrong, my God. Hi. Crazy. Crazy. What a night. And to be honest, we deserved way more than 2-0. I mean, that goal by Havertz that was disallowed because Sterling was offside before was crazy. And then Sterling's goal was actually really ridiculous. And then we got kind of lucky with VAR with Havertz missing a pen and then he gets taken again, retaken, and then he scores. Oh my days. Let me bring Adash in. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, in the chat, if you're new here, please do subscribe, hit that like button, and just tell me how happy you are in the chat. I want to get all of you and all of your thoughts involved. My God, I like I say, I'm over the moon. Adash, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it as always, my friend. Are you as happy as I am? Because I am over the moon. Our team still isn't the best team in the world, and our manager still isn't the best in the world. But today they turn up. Today we really turn up, and I could not be any happier. What about you, bro?
Oh, thank you for having me on. Oh, I'm so happy. I can't tell you how happy I am. My voice is, I don't know if you can tell, my throat is kind of gone. I was screaming at the TV for the whole 90 minutes plus added time. Every single minute I was just on my feet. And, this is the kind of Chelsea that we're kind of happy to have back after a long time, being excited for a game. We played some really good football. I thought, today I saw a really good pattern of play, which I hadn't seen in a lot of games that we had under Potter. And I think it's a good sign, hopefully, of things to come, hopefully of things that we can push on in the future and actually have a decent run in the Champions League, because we're basically out of every other competition.
Yeah, no, not just basically. We are out of every other competition. No, I couldn't agree more, man. Over the moon. It's a tough one because, people know how much of an advocate I have been of moving to a back four ever since Thomas Tuchel was in charge. It's just, hey, it so happened. Our team, unfortunately, is just still by far the most comfortable in this back three. And unfortunately, Potter, in those few months that he used the back four, and hasn't managed to change that and make them more comfortable with the back four. But hey, if I don't even know what I think about this now, because I'm like, well, should we play a back three every time now? Should we switch between them depending on the game? It's a weird one. It's a weird one. It's a difficult one. We will be joined by Clutch soon. I'm not sure if Con will join us. There was a maybe beforehand. There was a maybe, so I'm not sure if we will get him on. But Clutch will definitely be joining us. Adash, though, when you saw the team, was it what you expected? In particular, having Cucurella at left centre back.
It was what I expected. I think I didn't expect Trevor Chalobah to play, but I was also I was still surprised, I guess, because Cucurella wasn't even on the bench last game. I don't know if he was on the bench. Yeah, he wasn't even on the bench for the last couple of games. So then to kind of bring him in the biggest game of Potter's reign so far, I thought that showed a lot of confidence, but it was also pretty interesting. But I think given the personnel that we had or the personnel that we didn't have available, I think this is probably what we all realistically expected to play.
There you go. No, in a back three, I agree. But in a back four, well, no, what am I saying? So in a back three, I agree that is probably where Cucurella is most suited to. The question is just, is he most suited to it? I don't know if it depends on the game, but Cucurella today, we will obviously talk about it in more detail later, but he was unbelievable today. He was
Mudryk.
Unbelievable today.
You think it's a coincidence?
Go on.
Mudryk wasn't playing on his side. You think it's a coincidence?
Well, he was playing centre back though, not left back though when he had the Mudryk issues. But Mudryk, it's not even getting to 7 games at the moment. I mean, yeah, even brought Pulisic back from injury for the first time in 2 months and brought him back on before Mudryk. So don't really know what's happening there. But to be honest, today I really don't care. And today I think no one should care. We won. We are through to the last 8 of the Champions League, through to the quarterfinals of the Champions League. We really shouldn't give a shit why one individual player didn't play. This is Chelsea Football Club, not Mudryk Football Club. So I really don't care. We can worry about that again on Friday when we talk about the game on Saturday against Leicester. But before that, I do not need to worry about that. Clutch has joined us straight from work. Well, we're not telling anybody that he may or may not have watched the game. But how excited are you, bro? How excited are you? Because, I mean, as much as things have been dreadful for the last few months, today was good. Maybe not the best game of all time, but it felt like a proper Champions League comeback night. But we're through to the last day of the Champions League. Like, you can't complain too much with that, can you?
No, you can't. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I pretty much came into today expecting to be knocked out and just to see how the rest of the season went. And guess what? I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, we played well for the most part. A lot of our goals came from luck, but you know what? Sometimes I think luck plays a big part in this sport. Sometimes the team just gets lucky and the luckier team wins. So, I mean, I'll take it. I'll take the luck any day of the week and a couple good goals. Move it on. Let's just see how we fare over the weekend from here on out. Like, now we got bigger tasks to face up ahead. So let's just see how it goes.
Exactly, but we could also be facing Benfica, who I think went through against Bruges today. So arguably that would be not even bigger than Dortmund. But
007 Mudryk or 005?
Yeah, exactly. He's not getting to 7 if it continues like this. He will never play a 7th game.
Sorry, Enzo.
I really hope we get Benfica. We can dunk on Rui Costa again.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I don't need any excuse to dunk on Rui Costa.
That will be good.
I don't like him. I don't like engaging in that because if it for whatever random reason we lose to Benfica, then it's just like, okay, I guess we got to take our licks now.
Yeah, it is also like from a Benfica perspective, they probably want us just for that reason. So it swings and roundabouts, I suppose. But I don't even know where to start. I don't even know what to begin with. Clutch, I'll ask you the question I just asked Adash. What did you think of the team when it came out? Now, as much as I know you are still not a big fan of the back three. I know that. But I think we all expected to see a back three today after the comments Potter made and after the last game. But we didn't necessarily, as much as I said, yeah, do that, but just because we don't have Badiashile available, I didn't really expect Cucurella to start at left centre back, if I'm honest. But my God, that worked. So, what did you make of the team when you saw it? Were you a bit like, oh? Or did you, I mean, you said you were going into today not expecting to go through. So did that change at all when you saw the team? Or was that, if anything, that feeling before the game underlined?
I mean, the team was right about what I expected, to be honest. I mean, even down to Cucurella. I didn't think, considering we don't have that many center backs available who we can use, I didn't think we'd use all three of them at the same time. And then, God forbid, something happened to one of them. And then what would we do? We'd have to flip back to the back four anyway. So,
well, I guess you could then just put Cucurella at left centre back, I suppose.
I think we just end up switching to the back four. I think
that's maybe so. But I'm just saying, if you needed to do that, you could do that.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I thought Dortmund played in a way I didn't think they were going to play. They actually came at us for the most part. They didn't sit back, which fair play for them. I mean, I think that is kind of how Dortmund saw it. So the fact that they came out gave us a lot of space to actually use that back three in the way we needed. Like, if they sat back, then the back three probably wouldn't have worked because we just don't break teams down in the back three like we want to. But
I guess Dortmund's problem is I'm not sure how much of the preview you were able to follow yesterday, but what we discussed, even though apparently they were sitting back against Leipzig last Friday, in general, Dortmund are not a team that is used to sitting back. So I'm not sure if them sitting back would have been any better for them, because if you're not used to it, you're not going to be as good at it, I suppose. But yeah, it worked out in the end. You can't complain too much. But today was just the definition of how our season goes, just that the luck for once went our way. Because the amount of chances we had that we should have scored from, where the last pass was to the wrong person, a little bit too late, so we were offside. The disallowed goal from Havertz, which would have been a ridiculous goal, rivaling that goal he scored against Salzburg earlier in the season. Koulibaly pulling off one of the worst misses I think you will ever see. Like he had an open goal in front of him from 2 yards and he hits it backwards. Ay, what are you doing, Koulibaly? Why did you use
It was actually impressive in my opinion.
Yeah,
I think I should give him points for that.
I mean, maybe we should, to be honest, but because like he's right-footed. Why did he even try with left foot? I don't really understand what he was trying.
I don't think he expected that ball to be there, and then all of a sudden it was just there.
Maybe not, but he still swung his left foot, did he not? So it's like, it's.
I mean, you got to swing your foot at it, aren't you?
Yeah.
I mean, Sterling on his goal swung his foot at it and probably did a better shot than Koulibaly did.
Yeah, Sterling. No, we'll talk about that one. That was also hilarious because that's the next thing. The goal we then do score is a wonderful cross by Chile to Sterling. He misses the first time effort. It falls back to him. Oh, he keeps the ball anyway. Tries to go around Royce. Royce tackles him. Tackles the ball against Sterling's leg. Still leaving it in with Sterling. And then he pulls it hits a good shot into the roof of the net and we go 1-0 up. And then the Havertz penalty. I mean, it's a stonewall penalty. I don't understand how it took them so long to give that one. I mean, how much more obvious does he get? But then he misses the first one, hits it against the inside of the bar. Obviously, Havertz hitting the bar from open play earlier in the game when he won at the very inside of the bar, nearly in on the other side. And then he gets retaken because they ran into the box, even though our players were actually in the box first. But the rules are the rules, and then we're 2-0 up. And like I say, I still would have begged and hoped to get a third just to make it a little bit calmer for me towards the end. But that wasn't quite to be. Adash, before we get into more individuals, is that how you'd sum it up? Like, it's just, we still can't score normal goals, but at least the luck was on our side a little bit more today?
Yeah, I mean, we say like the luck was on our side. That's relative to the whole season because we were still like really unlucky this game in like some aspects. Like some of the offside calls were so marginal. Like we could have easily been a couple goals ahead. And then just like small things like that. But I think, yeah, on balance, we got a little bit lucky. But then it was also like, I think at least watching on TV, I thought the crowd was a lot more invested in the game than I've seen or that I felt over the last couple of games because everyone knew this was like the make or break of our season. So I think that also played a really big.
When you're not fighting for like even top 4, let alone the league, in this scenario, like when you're 10th, I also understand why the fans don't really turn up in the Premier League game. Like, as much as I always say the supporters are there to support the team and there to drag them through a rough patch, it is also like a little bit of a back and forth when you see the team not really giving everything as much as Graham Potter likes to tell us that they do. It's like, you want the spark from both sides. Sometimes the team needs it from the fans, but sometimes the fans need it from the team. And it wasn't really happening at the moment. I didn't see this interview, but great to know. Big fan. Big up Kai Havertz. Genuinely one of his best games for Chelsea that was today, which is, I'm not sure how much that says about his Chelsea career so far, but it genuinely was. And yeah, fair play. I mean, Clutch, would you say it was luck going our way, or do you agree with Adash that, I guess, on the other hand, there was also a few very marginal offside calls, which we did in some occasions, actually score from, and then, well, because it was marginally offside, it didn't go away. So maybe it's not just luck going our way, but in terms of the actual 2 goals, we did certainly get a little bit lucky.
I mean, I think the definition is we won by 2 goals that were very just lucky goals to be scored. I mean, the penalty, it was a stonewall penalty, I'm not going to lie, but you also, the fact that the encroachment happened afterward, that's insanely lucky. You don't get that very often. And it just happened to have the one he missed. And in fact, if he would have missed 2 inches to the right and it would have went out of bounds, it wouldn't have even been a thing. The fact that they got involved is the only reason it was even called.
Is that the rule? If he misses and puts it wide, it doesn't matter whether someone encroached.
It doesn't matter if they don't get involved. The fact that they cleared it afterwards is why they.
But weirdly, I'm not sure if anyone paid enough attention to it. The Dortmund player that cleared it hadn't actually encroached into the box.
Nope. No. Which is why we're lucky.
But also, the rules say no one is allowed to encroach, not just.
Also, which is kind of funny because I also thought Chile was ahead of everybody. I'm like, how are we getting this called for us? But I'm like, you know what?
Yeah, no. There was, I think, 2 or 3
I'm not asking
players
questions.
in the box before Dortmund players. But
I was like, I'm not asking questions. So yeah. I mean,
because if he would have scored, in theory, they would have also needed to retaken that penalty for Chelsea players encroaching. So, I guess it was just lucky that he didn't score.
Yeah, but I also think like a lot of, I mean, the offsides I think were fair enough. I mean, they were technically.
Yeah, they were fair enough. They were just close. Do you know what I mean? It's marginal.
Yeah.
The ball comes a split second earlier, you're on. You start the run, the split second later, you're on. Yeah, it's a tough one. Pice was at the game, and he doesn't live quite that close to the bridge, so that's why he's not able to be on this stream, because he's on the way home. But I'm sure we will get Pice to talk about this game in detail over the next.
He flies from Ireland every day to go see the game, so.
Yeah, okay. He's flying back all the way to Ireland now. Okay.
Exactly.
This was the team. Yeah. What can I say? The only thing that surprised me was Cucurella. Like I say, I said it yesterday that I would do that, even though I wasn't fully sold on it, purely on the basis of, obviously I would have played Badiashile if he was available, but because he isn't available in the Champions League, I'm like, okay, then play a left-footed player, because I think I know Rudiger was there before under Thomas Tuchel, and he was unbelievable in that position. But I still think in playing out of possession, beating a press, having a left-footed player as your left centre-back makes a big difference. So whether you would have put Koulibaly, Fofana, or Chalobah there, in terms of beating the press, playing out from the back, every one of those would have been worse than Cucurella. So, I mean, like I say, it surprised me that he did it, but I'm happy that he did it, especially in hindsight, because, my God, it worked brilliantly well. And Chile and Cucurella both were brilliant. Two of our best players today, both of them, honestly. Very, very happy. And Fofana is impressing me more and more and more. The more he plays, the more he's not injured, the happier I am with him. What player, my God. And he's so young still. So young. And Koulibaly, at least as a central centre-back, he doesn't look like he's struggling at all. Sure, this was now Europe and not the Premier League. And, this is what he's more used to anyway. But still, that one's working. I'm still not fully sold on this Kovacic-Enzo midfield partnership. I still feel like we sometimes lack someone trying to tackle and lack a little bit of height and pace and, sometimes. But, the weird thing is we finished this game with less possession. How crazy is that? Transmitted by, what the flip? I'm getting weird notifications. My apologies. Ignore me. But we ended the game with less possession. So that is crazy. We only had 39% possession, but an XG of 1.97 compared to Dortmund's 0.94, because, my God, when Bellingham had that chance and missed that chance, wow, that was crazy. How did he miss it? How did he actually miss it? My days. Ladies and gentlemen, put your thoughts in the chat in terms of what you thought of before the game, not in hindsight, but before the game, of Cucurella starting the left centre-back and, just the way we set up, I guess. Put it in the chat. Of course, if you want to get involved in some conversations that maybe I'm not directly talking to, and if you're more concerned that I don't see your message, do use the super chat function. It's always massively appreciated. Again, hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. We had over 450 people watching, so that'd be massively appreciated. On the road to 20,000 subscribers. One thing I do quickly want to touch on, even though I'm like, I don't care about Mudryk today. The one thing I will mention with Mudryk, if we're not using him, why did we register him? Because we could have just registered Badiashile then, or Fofana if we wanted a backup striker and didn't want to use Aubameyang. Because if we're not going to use Mudryk, it's kind of pointless having him in the squad. What do you think, Ardash, on that one? Like, again, we could only register 3, and now we're not even using one of them.
I mean, I doubt we would have used. Today I guess is a bad day to say Badiashile should have been registered. I guess because where would he have gotten in? I wouldn't have changed the back 3.
Well, he would have played
with the benefit of hindsight. But I think Mudryk would have a higher chance of getting into the starting 11 or coming off the bench than David Dutch or Fofana. But
absolutely.
But both of them are tied at 0% of a chance to get in. But I don't think that would have made a big difference. I think especially if we were losing, or if we were losing, then I think Mudryk would have had a slightly higher chance of coming on instead of someone like Gallagher, maybe. Yeah,
it was Gallagher as the first sub again. Potter loves the Gallagher as the first sub. But then again, when you need a workhorse, when you're kind of defending a lead a little bit, I understand why you use someone like Gallagher. But Clutch, just to quickly touch on Mudryk before we get into individual player ratings. I don't understand why the chat is constantly talking about Potter out. Can you again, it's okay if you want that, but
Have a day off. It's okay.
Yeah, not tonight.
Have
Like,
a day
just be happy
off,
that we
man.
qualified for the last 8 in the Champions League. Don't worry about Potter right
But
now.
if we don't sack him out,
Enjoy
we're not
life.
going to win the next one. Like, oh, okay. Like, relax. Like, we're going to probably get embarrassed at some point in the Champions League. Like, just relax. Like, it's...
Yeah, it happens. Do you know what I mean? Last season we were 3-0 up and still bottled it. Do you know what I mean? Even with a great manager. So, like, it happens. But Clutch, in terms of, Mudryk not being used, should we have just not registered him? Or
No, I guess think it's very simple.
Go on.
When we registered these players, our entire idea was this back four will work. Didn't work. So we switched back to the back three. Very last minute thing, I think. He's not going to play in the back three. People just need to get over it. If he's going to play in the back three, he's going to play over Chilwell. You want to play over Chilwell?
The only counterpoint I will have to that is against... Who did we play against?
Leeds.
No, but before Leeds. Whoever we played before Leeds, Mudryk was also an unused sub, even though we played a back four for that whole game. So because of that, it doesn't purely seem like a back three issue. Now, I agree, maybe if we played a back four for the last 2 games, then he would have been used. But because he also wasn't used in a back four system, then I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure. But enough of this waffle. Let's get into talking about these player ranks because we need to get that done. Kepa, Adash, I'll start with you. Couple of good saves, especially that free kick save and that close, somewhat one-on-one save against, was it Wolf, their right back? Those were 2 very, very strong saves, weren't they? So what would you give Kepa on the day, mate?
Yeah, I think overall very good, very solid performance. He also, I thought distribution was good. He made like the right decisions. I didn't see like any twitchy or nervous moments. So I would give him probably, you know what? Let's be happy. Give him a 7.5.
True. Actually, you are right, Clutch. The game before Leeds was against Spurs, and he did come on in that fair play. Yep, there you go. Sorry, Adash, I was reading Clutch's private message. Say that rating again for me.
I said 7.5. Yeah, I thought.
Fair
also,
dudes,
Wolf
man.
is a prick. This is completely unrelated, but Wolf is a complete prick.
Who is a complete prick?
They're right back.
Oh, the right back, yeah.
I just wanted to get that on the record. It has nothing to do with anything, but yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Clutch, would you agree with 7.5? Would you go potentially higher than that? I mean, he conceded almost the same free kick against Southampton. This time he saved it. That was pretty good.
I thought he had a really good game. I mean, he even did what he needed to do for time wasting. Got in trouble for it. Got himself his yellow. He almost got himself even worse a little bit later. But I'd give him an 8 point. Or I'd give him an 8. I'm not going to go too high. I'd give him an 8. He had 2 really good saves to keep us in the game. So I'd give him an 8.
I would even give him an 8.5, honestly. To be honest, I'm even considering a 9 because I'm like, well, he made 2 top saves and didn't do anything wrong. So what am I gonna, take points off for, I guess. Sammy says do a poll. We will probably have plenty of polls to come. So we will not do a poll for Kepa, especially because we just sit at an even 8 with 1 7.5, 1 8, and 1 8.5. We'll just give Kepa an 8. And I'm very happy for him. Very, very happy for him. All right. Let's go from right to left this time, just because I want to keep Cucurella's praise for a little bit longer. Wesley Fofana, Clutch. Do you agree at the moment that the more he's playing, the better he looks? Like, he's a hell of a player, I think. Like, what I also love about him is his leap. He jumps like he's got fucking springboards on his legs.
Yeah, I thought this is a player I thought we bought for 70 million in the summer, and he did struggle a little bit at the beginning, but now I think he's starting to really grow into his own. I mean, he's the player who I always thought, like, every time we keep buying center backs, I'm like, we got a really young, good center back, and he's going to grow into that position. I mean, for Leicester, he was insane for Leicester a lot of the time. I mean, we got the correct center back from Leicester. Let's be honest. I would probably give him a 7.5, probably. I think. Okay,
7.5 to start off with. Adash, what did you think of Wesley Fofana today, and what have you thought of Wesley Fofana in general the last few weeks? Because obviously he got his chance very early. I mean, his first game was under Thomas Tuchel in that 1-0 defeat away at Zagreb, in which he actually made a mistake for us conceding that goal. And then it didn't take long for him to, unfortunately, get injured against Milan in the home game. Even which he scored, though, and then got injured. And then we didn't see him for so long. But he's looked very good, has he not? And what would you give him today, bro?
Yeah, I think he's been absolutely class since he's come in. I mean, every time he plays, the more and more he plays, the more scared I get that he's gonna get injured again.
Yeah.
I'm just like praying that he doesn't get injured because he's so good. I love him. He's like, and like when you watch him play, I feel like he gets what it's like to play for Chelsea. I mean, he's not afraid to like throw himself at the end of the game. Like there was a shot, I think it was by Wolf again, where I mean, like it was at the edge of the box. Anything could have happened. He threw his body at it to get a block on it, to get a deflection, and he was doing that throughout the game. So I would even give him an 8 or an 8.5. I think he was really good. He stepped up to the occasion really well.
You know what? Maybe it's my hype just because I'm so excited and happy that we won and everything. But I don't know if Clutch is trying to not go so high, but I don't think our defenders could have done really anything better today. I'm going to go high for all of them. The only reason I've accepted I'm only going to do 8.5 for Kepa is because I guess he only had 2-3 real good saves to make. So I'm like, okay, wasn't that much to do. But because Dortmund dominated possession, and they were a lot around our box, but our defenders were just class 9, honestly. I will go very high for all of these 3 centre-backs today. So do you want to give him a 9 or an 8.5, Adash?
I'll go with an 8.5. I think we'll keep some of the higher ratings for some other players.
That's fair.
Like, yeah, we'll get to him soon. But yeah, I think we'll keep a higher rating for some of the other centre back.
Fair enough. I will just get rid of that W here because it makes his name look a bit long and dodgy. So, you were all aware that Fofana played centre back and it's not David Dutch Fofana, right? So Koulibaly then, again, very good. The amount of crosses Dortmund hit and he just cleared every single one of them outside of his ridiculous miss was phenomenal. Absolutely brilliant. I genuinely don't know what I could fault him for. I mean, his pass accuracy could have been better, apparently, because it was only 78%. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm not going to complain about it too much. How many aerial duels did he win? 4 out of 8 only, to be fair. But ground duels 4 out of 4. I thought he had a great game. I didn't think quite as impressive as Fofana, but maybe the same. So I guess I'm thinking like 8.5, 9-ish in that realm. I'm going to start it off with an 8.5. I'll go to Adash next. We'll let Clutch go last on this one. Did you think it was better, the same as Fofana? What would you think?
I thought he was a little bit... I would give him a lower rating than Fofana. I would give him the same rating as Fofana because, I mean, I thought that miss was outrageous. I mean, yeah. I don't know if you guys remember. I think 2 seasons ago.
No, I agree. I know we won, but for that miss, I'm going to take it out tonight.
I mean, we clowned Timo Werner like 2 seasons ago. There was this one miss. I think it was against like Leeds or something. Yeah. Leeds, yeah. It was like the ball was going in. He made it hit the bar. That was like, at least the ball went towards the goal. This one was a complete other direction. So I think...
To be fair for Timo, I mean, it was like I was watching a TV show on repeat every week with him.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I think, to be fair to Koulibaly as well, at least he's a centre back. Timo Werner's job is actually to score.
Yeah, I also think there were a couple moments where I think with his left foot, like he's very comfortable. He's quite 2-footed, but there's sometimes that I feel with his left foot he overhits passes a little bit. I think there was 1 or 2 occasions that I noticed. But I think apart from that, he was very good. He wasn't as rash. I think my biggest concern, I guess my biggest concern with Koulibaly is just how rash he is sometimes. But I didn't feel that way today. I think he played a very solid game. And I think the back 3 really suits him.
I agree with that last one, absolutely. He apparently committed 0 fouls, so can't have been too rash today. So that's something. Fair play to you, Khalidu. Fair enough. You going 8 or 8.5 then, bro? Remind me.
8. I'll go in an 8.
Clutch, you're going to agree with that 8? Or considering you gave Fofana 7.5, what are you going to give Koulibaly?
I really can't argue an 8. I mean, I probably was a little too lenient or harsh on Fofana because he was really good today. But I also thought like Koulibaly dealt with Haller very well today. I mean, he basically was non-existent. He had to keep dropping back to do link-up play, and that's just not his game. His game is winning headers, and he just didn't. I mean, it seems like Koulibaly won. I don't know how 4 out of 8. I don't remember a single time Haller won a header over him. I cannot remember a single time. And I can even remember the commentator at one point being like, why are they trying this when Koulibaly has won literally every header that's come towards him? And I'm like, okay. So I thought he dealt with Haller very well today. And that's probably why I would give him the 8 comparatively to my 7.5. I mean, Fofana probably also deserves an 8, to be honest. And also Koulibaly at one point And I think it was the offsides chance that Sterling had. He was the one who played that pass. It was a really good progressive pass from Koulibaly. So he's getting better at it. So I think I give him an 8. Probably, I'd agree with the 8.
Fair dues. The more I think about it, I'm like, did I think Fofana was really better than Koulibaly? Not really. So maybe I'll raise mine to an 8.5. But because you both gave him an 8, we'll leave Koulibaly at the 8, and we go to Cucurella. The man who's not made the match day squad for 3 weeks, or in the last 3 games. And then he comes in a position where he's only played a couple of times and really wasn't good ever. But today he was very close to perfect from what a centre-back in a back 3 that has his instructions needs to do, because he wasn't playing like you out and out, usual centre-back. He was certainly playing in a way where it's like very aggressive in the press, passing it out, different to a centre-back usually would, pushing into midfield when we, try to have a mid-block press, making Chilwell drop to almost fill that left-back role in at times because Cucurella had the job to push out. But his line-breaking passes, my God, they were unbelievable today. Now, people will see he will play that position again, and sometimes those line-breaking passes won't be as perfect. They will get intercepted, and then it will look bad. But those risky passes, they will sometimes get intercepted. That happens. But when they are not, that's how you beat a press. And literally, at least in the first half, it felt like almost every positive attacking moment we had started by either Koulibaly or Cucurella playing wonderful line-breaking passes. Genuinely, it's what it felt like. It's probably not statistically quite correct, but at least that's what it felt like I say. People are talking about 9.5s in the chat. I will not go quite 9.5, but I will give him a 9. I've not decided yet whether anyone will get higher, whether it will be a joint highest rating situation here. I've not decided that yet, but he very much so deserves a 9. I think it was absolutely brilliant today. With how small he is as well, because I'm not sure if you guys have noticed, but Haller didn't just always stick with Koulibaly. He's not an idiot. He realized, Cucurella is over there and he's super small. Let me go there. And still he didn't win all the headers. I mean, to be honest, when I look at stats of Cucurella, they don't look that amazing, the actual stats. 81% pass accuracy, better than Koulibaly, but still accurate long balls, 1 out of 4. Tackles, apparently didn't make one. Ground duels, 0 out of 2, apparently. But aerial duels, 2 out of 3. So, I don't know. The stats don't say he was that great, but to me, he was great. So, hey, I will rule by my eyesight over stats today, and I will give him a 9. I think he absolutely warrants it. And he's certainly a shout for man of the match. I think he actually won the official man of the match. So, fair play to him. What a comeback, I will say. Because away in Dortmund, there were some Chelsea fans booing him. There certainly was no one booing him today. What a performance. My God, I'm very happy, very proud of him. Clutch, would you quite agree with that high of a rating? But even if you don't, did you think he was very good?
And his final days at Brighton, this is the position he played. He played this for a while. Yeah. So he's very comfortable here. And one of the reasons is he's defensively pretty good. I mean, he always anticipates pass. I think he had 4 interceptions today. So he was just always there to kind of break up the play. He was very good today. And like you said, he was progressively passing the ball very well. I think he deserves a 9, especially after not being in the squad for 3 weeks. And he comes back and immediately just shows that he's back and ready. So, hey, hopefully that long vacation sparks him on. I'd give him a 9.
Fair dues. I like it. I love it. Big fan. Adash, would you agree? Were you as happy with Cucurella as we were?
Oh, absolutely. I thought he was really, really good today. Especially fair play after coming back 2 or 3 games without even being in the match day squad. That must take a mental toll on any professional football player who's especially this is his manager, right? So then to come back in a really big game and then to show up in that way, I thought it was a really, really good performance. And then like Jay mentioned in the chat, he also got stuck in, defended his teammates. I thought he showed a lot of I'm blanking on the word, but he was really enthusiastic about the game, and he was just I think he was all over the pitch today. So I think definitely deserves a 9 today from me.
There you go. Fair enough. Love it. Big fan. Sorry, I was just trying to see if anything important has been posted or said by anyone in Chelsea yet. So far, I haven't seen anything super important. All right. Let's stick to the left side for now. Ben Chilwell won't go down as the official assist because obviously Royce touched the ball for a second before Sterling actually scored. But realistically, got the assist for the first goal and won us the penalty for the second goal. He arguably also has a shout for man of the match today because in terms of influence, he was absolutely brilliant. He was, again, he did it on Saturday against Leeds. He did it again today. He was storming up and down that wing. There was absolutely no stopping him whatsoever. And that's, I think, arguably the most impressive part about Chile. Like, the crossing is good, but he's doing things that we know he could do. And he could have scored on one occasion as well, where he unfortunately sliced and put it quite significantly wide and over, but could have done on another day. But the fact that he's been injured for so long, he definitely hasn't even played 15 games since since November 2021 when he did his ACL. Like, how many games did he play at the beginning of the season? 5, 6, 7, maybe like that. And now since he's come back from this injury, he's played 3 or 4. Like, he's not had a lot of games. The fact that he's this fit already and 3 days back to back, just sprinting his lungs out, crazy. It was crazy talk, that one. But yeah, very, very, very impressive. Would anyone say I'm mental if I give him a 9 as well? Because again, he got the assist and he won the penalty. As a wing back, you can't really do much more than that, honestly. So I actually think I'm going to give him a 9 too.
He also had a really good block on a shot.
And the last ditch tackle, not long after we actually scored, forgot that as well.
Reina had a good curler that he stopped.
I wasn't even going to think it for a second. I was going to go even higher, but I'm going to stick to 9 still. But unbelievable performance from Chile. Adash, I'll go with you first on this one. Do you agree with the 9? Would you potentially even go higher? But what do you think?
Yeah, I completely agree with the 9. I was gonna mention the block from Reina. I thought that was one of the most pivotal moments in the game because if that goal had gone in, Kepa was not getting to that shot if Chile hadn't blocked that, and if that goal had gone in, I don't know, our heads could have easily dropped and then could have led to something very, 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 very unpleasant. So I think that was really important. I also think today it felt like prime Chile was back, just bombing up and down the left-hand side. In fact, I don't even think after his injury, I feel like he's running up and down the left flank even more than he was before the injury. I don't remember him chasing lost causes. Today there were a couple of occasions where he was just chasing balls to put pressure on the opponent. And even if they didn't, a lot of times they turned out to change possession and we got the ball high up the pitch. But even if they didn't, that just put a lot of pressure onto Dortmund, and I think that started with him. He was a pivotal part of our press today.
There you go. I couldn't agree more. Clutch, do you agree on the 9 as well with everything we said? Assisted, won the penalty, saved the goal with that block. He did very well today, to be fair to him.
I think we're talking a lot about his offensive work when I thought he was really good defensively today. There was multiple times. He even stormed over to where James was at one point and got the block. And I was like, okay, why are you over there now? You're not supposed to be there. And there's just multiple times I watched Chile. I think a lot of people, Chile's not the best defender, but you can see it improving each week we watch him. And today I thought he was really good defensively. So I think he really deserves that 9.
Fair dues. Love it. Big fan. All right, let's go over to the other side. Reece James, not quite as influential and impactful as Ben Chilwell in terms of attacking output and even arguably defensive output. But considering he's not fully fit, and we all know he's not fully fit, my guy was putting in a shift. I was petrified when that Jude Bellingham challenge just before the end came in, and he was. I'm still a little bit scared. I know he got up after and walked and shook hands with Bellingham and stuff, but I'm still a little bit concerned because that looked really bad. But hopefully, fingers crossed, touch wood, everything's okay. But it was a very strong performance. Again, not quite as crazy as Chilwell, but a very, very, very strong performance. And I also thought that longer the game went on, the better he got. I'm not sure what that says in terms of maybe a little bit lacking sharpness or whatever. But yeah, you know what, Clash, I'll let you go first before I give out my actual rating.
Don't throw me under the bus.
Sorry?
So don't throw me under the bus with a rating.
Sorry, bro.
God. I thought he was quiet. I thought he had a decent shift. I for somebody who hasn't it scares me every time he plays 90. I'm not gonna lie. But I thought he had a decent shift.
When if not today,
That's true. It's a fair point. I see a lot of people in the chat going 8. I'm not gonna go there. I'm sorry. I'm probably gonna go a 7. I thought he was decent. I thought he was just above average. But the Reece James. If you even look at his stats, his passing wasn't usually where it's normally at. He didn't have that many touches as he usually does. So he says he has a key pass. I don't know. I'd give him a 7. That's what I'm going to go with.
Fairs. I mean, obviously the touches will be less. We had less than 40% possession, so we will have less touches.
I'm still mad about that.
Yeah, but am I? Because we had all the touches in the world and kept losing. I'd rather win. Especially when it's tournament of football, and I'm not really feeling progression anyway. Just
Jose's Porto. That's what we're doing right now.
It is a bit of Porto, but I think it's very interesting. We will get to that maybe later on. The way we press is so fascinating because we actually press super hard, but only from the halfway line. From the halfway line, we press like insane people, but before that, we don't press at all. It's a halfway press, but a mid-block press. But sometimes I would like us to push a bit higher, but I also understand the idea. We just force them to pass it around the back. And then we win the ball. And if a team is not as patient as Dortmund, and they only were that patient when they were 1-0 up. And we knew, okay, at some point they will come, we will win the ball, we will get our goals. And so we did, I suppose. But yeah, you go 7. Adash, what about you? Will you go 7? Would you go a little bit higher than that? Do you agree with a lot of people in the chat that are going 8 and stuff? Or what did you make of Reece James today? Looking at the stats, I can't disagree. Like 75% pass accuracy, successful dribbles, 1 out of 2. Crosses 0 out of 3, accurate long balls 2 out of 5. He was never dispossessed, to be fair. Apparently didn't win the tackle, although I'm never sure about those stats. But yeah, 2 headed clearances, 2 normal clearances, 5 interceptions, 4 recoveries. 3 out of 8 ground duels isn't that good either, I will be honest. I still thought he was good, but I do agree with Clutch that he wasn't as good as like Chilwell and Cucurella and maybe Fofana. But what would you give him?
Yeah, I mean, the way I see it, I would probably pure performance was like a 6.75 and then like a plus 0.25 for coming back from injury and then not being, you could clearly see he wasn't 100% fit. So I would probably give him a 7. Yeah, I thought he was I wouldn't say he was invisible, but he wasn't as he wasn't as implosive in terms of the way he usually carries himself. I thought he really, like you said, I thought he really grew into the game. He had some really nice dribbles, where he dribbled past players and then moved into the middle of the pitch, but none of it really amounted to anything. He also had one really good cross at the beginning of the game. I don't remember exactly what happened to it, but I remember
it blocked out for a corner.
Yeah, I think it went out for a corner. Yeah, but I thought it was a lot of just nearly moments.
Yeah.
And so I think I thought the 7 is probably warranted if we're being honest.
It's a weird one because now I've looked at Chile's stats as well. He had worst pass accuracy, only 18 out of 27, so 67%. Again, I'm not sure do passes include crosses or not, because his cross accuracy was 2 out of 7. But I mean, crosses is a bit more difficult. He still completed 2. One of them led to a goal, the other one led to a penalty, even though that doesn't count as a completed cross, I guess. Defensively, Chile had better stats than Reece, but in terms of Reece being less involved, I purely think that's down to Cucurella playing. Because Cucurella played, we did most of our build-up along the left side. And that's why Reece was a little less involved. I purely put it down to that. I would probably say 7.5. I still think he did enough to get a 7.5 personally. But, you boys go with the 7. That's absolutely fine for me. You know what? I will just check for 1 second on SofaScore. Who today was the more defensive of the 2 players? Let me just see, where was it? Oh, it's showing me the wrong date already just because it's just gone off.
It was Reece.
No, I mean of the 2 midfielders.
Oh, Enzo.
It was Enzo. So we shall do Enzo first. Interesting, because another one who I thought grew into the game. At first half, I was not so impressed. Not that he was bad, but not so impressed. But I feel like the longer the game went on, the better he got. I mean, the passing accuracy for the deepest midfielder, to be honest, wasn't great. 73%, 22 out of 30, that's not amazing. But tackles 1, 2 out of 3, that's very good. Ground duels, 4 out of 8 is okay. It was a good performance. I'm going to give Enzo... interesting. What's the chat saying for Enzo? Ladies and gentlemen, put your ratings for Enzo in the chat. I've seen a 6, 2 6s, an 8.5, a 7, an 8, a 7, 7.5. He was not impressive at all. Enzo won the most tackles today, I think. No player won possession more times in the Champions League tonight than Enzo Fernandez. Thank you, Jem. By the way, big up, Jem. I hope you're well. Sorry?
I want to know where that stat came from. I need to find that. Because that will greatly influence my decision on what I want to pick.
I'm pretty sure that is true.
He had 10 recoveries, so the number is definitely correct. Whether it's the most, I haven't checked all the players, but 10 recoveries is certainly, that is a correct stat. I will give Enzo, I will give him a 7.5 because a couple of the balls, especially the longer the game went on, were brazy, and I like it. So I will say 7.5. Will you agree, Ardash? I will let you go first before Clutch. What do you think of Enzo?
I thought he was really good. I thought I would give him. It's tough. I think it's between a 7.5 and an 8. It's definitely not as low as a 6. I thought there were some moments. I think a lot of the offside balls were like played by him. So I think there were some moments where he could have played it a touch quicker to kind of like spur the counter attack because he won the ball back a lot, but then he kind of just like dwindled on the ball a little bit. So I thought that was kind of the negative part of his game, but I thought he was also by the same token, I thought he was really good. He was helpful in progressing along with Cucurella. And there was one moment where he got pressed pretty hard and then he was able to move past it. And then I think things like that are what like we expect to see from Enzo. He was losing the ball in his first couple of games. There were moments where he would get caught out. So I think the growth is definitely something that's really good. I would probably, you know what? Let's be happy. Give him an 8. Be positive.
Fair enough. Next time I get you to talk, if you could try, I think because you're using your phone, aren't you? Try not to touch the mic because sometimes we can hear you touching over the mic. But it's no dramas. Fair enough. 7.5 and an 8 so far then. Clutch, which way are you going to swing it after you've seen where Gemma's confirmed this stat? Which way does it swing your rating for, Enzo?
I kind of want to get the chat involved, but there's no really way of doing that. So,
I mean, I can give them a poll. We haven't so far, so might as well.
Go ahead.
But you can still tell us your rating, and we can still let the chat get involved in the decision. What realm do you think I should go from? Like, what kind of number shall I give the chat as options?
7.5 or an 8.
Are those two? Is that what you're between?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. I'm happy with that.
I'm leaning towards 8.
Okay. I didn't think I would go the lowest, to be honest, but hey, here we are. that's how quickly it goes. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, in the chat, get involved. Help Clutch make his final decision. And we will leave that on as a 7.5/8 for the time being. Like I say, place your vote for Enzo Fernandez's rating in the top of the chat, and we will get back to that in a few minutes' time and see what.
Don't blame me, Jem. I didn't pick I didn't do this. Don't blame me. You can't blame me. It's the chat, okay?
To be fair, I mean, some of the chat wanted probably lower than 7.5, but hey, here we are. Let's get to Mateo Kovacic. I was certainly a lot happier with him today than I was against Spurs. Oh no, against Spurs he didn't play. Than I was against whoever we played before Spurs and against Leeds. Was he the best player in the world today? No, but what I liked was his attempt at bicycle kick. That was funny. Or not funny, fun. I enjoyed that he went for it. 25 out of 36 passes, 69% pass accuracy. These are actually worse than Enzo, which I didn't necessarily expect.
I'm so sorry, Jem.
What's happening? Is it going to 7.5? Is it? Oh, it's going to 8 now to me. We'll see.
Okay, sweet. Okay.
We'll see where it flies. But 3 out of 3 successful dribbles, accurate long balls. 0 out of 3 is not great. Tackles 1 out of 4. Okay, but then it says Cucurella didn't attempt one, so I cannot take that too seriously. He had 5 recoveries compared to Enzo's 10. Ground duels though, 7 out of 13, not bad. 50% aerial duels, 0 out of 4. He wasn't good in those. I thought he misjudged a lot of balls in the air. I wasn't that pleased with that. Honestly, I would probably give Enzo and Kovacic the same rating. I think they both had strong points in certain parts of the game and slightly weaker points in other parts of the game. I would probably give them both a 7.5, but obviously the chat and the boys might go for the 8 for Enzo. But yeah, I will give Enzo 7.5. I will give Kovacic 7.5. I think they about roughly even each other out. Clutch, are you more decided on Kovacic than you are on Enzo? What do you think?
I thought they were about the same too. That's what it's like. 7.75 for both of them is where I would lean, but we can't do that. So
if the chat give Enzo an 8, you will also give Kova an 8.
Correct.
Okay.
You're also fighting for a Kova.
Fair. No, fair. Hey, I can't disagree with you too much. But what did you like/dislike about Enzo? Like, did you Koba? Did you think like me that kind of Koba had strength in some points and then Enzo had strength in some points? To be honest, I just think an 8 is a little bit too high for two midfielders who didn't even get he didn't even get above 70% pass accuracy and Enzo just over. That for my central midfielders to me is a bit high to give out an 8. As much as the whole result and performance is good. That's why I'm saying 7.5. But what did you make of Koba? Like, what did you like about it? What did you not like?
I like that we don't pass sideways from them anymore. We look forward 9 times out of 10, which is why their pass accuracy is going to be a little bit low, is because they're going to look forward a little bit more.
That, by the way, that only works because we don't press as high. Because if we pressed higher, we would automatically have to pass sideways a little bit more because the opponents would have more players back, wouldn't they? Just,
And every time I really noticed Kova, he was pressing up with like the front 3. Yeah. So that's when I really noticed Kova. There was many times when he was up there winning the ball back for us, like at the top of their box, which allowed us to get a little bit more aggressive in the box. So that's what I really liked about Kova today.
Yes, I like it. I'd ask that. A 7.5 from my end, a potential, and what looks like an 8 from Clutch. What would you give Mateo Kovacic? Do you agree that him and Enzo were about similar, which would suggest you would give him an 8 as well, or would you go for something different than Enzo for you?
Well, I mean, I thought Kova was a little bit worse than Enzo. I just feel like there were some points at which he got dispossessed. I guess. Well, okay. If Pice is listening, I give him a 15. Yeah. And if not, that's good. I don't want to start any beef, But in case Pice isn't listening, then I'll probably stick with the 7.5. I thought he was marginally worse than Enzo to me, but yeah, I thought there wasn't too much about his performance necessarily, but he was like effective in the engine room to just kind of keep things moving and then to lead the press. I thought we needed a leader like that, kind of in a young attacking core to like spur the press like Jorginho used to do. He did that at some point today, which I appreciated, and I thought, yeah, probably 7.5 is what I would go for.
First. That probably leaves us with a 7.5 for Kovacic. What I found very interesting, I'm not sure if everybody noticed, obviously Kovacic started as the captain, but when he came off, even though Reece James stayed on the pitch, he gave the armband to Kepa. So it still wasn't Reece James, which I find weird because the other week, when Reece James was captain from the beginning, or was he only went after? It was after Aspi got injured, wasn't it? Then it was. But Kepa was also on the pitch. So, like, I guess maybe it was just because Reece James was the closest to it and he just kept it. Maybe we made more out of it as fans than it was. But yeah, I understand how managers often do it. Like they have a captain and a vice captain, maybe a third captain. And after that, it just goes by who's been at the club for the longest time. But then I guess it's always like, well, Reece James has been here since he's 8. He's just not been in the first team since he's 8. So I guess, like, does that not outweigh Koba being in the first team for 4 yees? I don't know. But hey, it doesn't really matter. But hey, two captaincies from the start for Koba so far, or at least in the last 2 games, and we won both. So can't complain too much. Ladies and gentlemen, again, place your vote for Enzo's rating at the top of the chat, and so we can get to finalize that rating after. Let's get to Joao Felix. Looked like he got injured and then got up and played on. I was like, thank God for once the injury gods weren't against us. But yeah, I don't know what I made of him. He was the best thing he did was after like 3 minutes when he had that chance, when he like spun the defender and then shot from the tight angle and the keeper saved it. That was his best moment of the game, really. Otherwise, I thought it was good, but nothing like special. Do people hate me for saying this? Pies probably will.
Don't worry, I'll piss him off at some point this week.
We all do. We love you though, Pies. We do. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen in the chat, obviously, let me know what you thought. But I would probably say 6.5.
I'll make you feel better. That's where I would go.
Okay. Well, yeah. Well, good. I will go 6.5. I've not decided yet what
I'm going to get stabbed by the chat, but
because Sterling was actually dreadful, but scored. So I'm not really sure what to give him yet. We'll decide that soon. But yeah, 6.5. Or sorry, as he informed us in the press conference that we didn't actually notice, or I did at least. He's called Felix, not Felix, which is actually pronounced in my language. So everyone calls him Felix. So it feels more natural to call him Felix in the English language. But hey, Joao Felix. 6.5 for my clutch. Go on.
Yeah, I'd give him a 6.5. Yeah, didn't he have a moment where he had a shot at an open goal and he shot it at the keeper again? Didn't he have one of those again?
Did he?
I think so. He has a big chance missed, apparently. I don't know which one that is.
It must be the 1 minute one, no? Does he have a big chance missed?
He does have one.
Well,
He
I
has
don't
2
remember.
shots.
I don't
One
remember
shot
the
was
second
blocked.
one that he had. He said because it says he had 2 shots from very close to goal. I don't remember the second one. I only remember the tight one, which was early. Here it says. Which one was it? In the 40th minute.
Yeah, I thought, if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure he was like, because I think I looked away and then I looked back.
You know what it was? I think that was after Koulibaly missed and then the ball fell to Felix. He hit it and got blocked.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. But it got blocked. So you know, I'm not going to be too harsh on that one specifically. But sorry, I keep interrupting you.
No, you're fine. Like, I just thought he was okay. Like, it wasn't anything special. I don't like Felix over here. I want him behind the striker because I think that's where he works best, is when he's able to do that. But it wasn't like he was bad or anything. I don't think we were progressively worse. He didn't mess up attacks. Like
except the one time when he first mugged off the opponent like crazy with a beautiful nutmeg, but then he tried to switch the play and hit it straight to the Dortmund defender.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
He did. Yeah. I remember that now. But it's only one time compared to about 15 or 17, you know?
Exactly.
On the back of the jersey.
Go on. 6.5, or you're going to leave it at that?
I'm going to give him a 6.5.
Fair dues. Alash, do you think we're being harsh? Would you agree?
Well, I was actually going to go with the 6. It didn't matter, but I just thought he was pretty average. I mean, if you're in a front line with Kai Havertz and Raheem Sterling, I mean, just traditionally, and you're the first one to get subbed off, you realistically couldn't have been playing that well. I think he was okay. I think it was a lot of like what we've seen before, but just not as good in terms of like these like small dribbles, like getting the ball out wide and then like maybe like mugging off a player or two, and then eventually he like maybe like goes a little bit too far or just like loses the ball or gets fouled, something like that. So not much end product. I think like at this point, there were some moments where he should have like passed the ball a little bit sooner, but he chose to like kind of get his head down and then dribble. But I thought he was just kind of like a box standard 6.
Fair enough. We will stick to a 6.5 overall, then obviously. But the whole getting sub thing, I mean, Sammy said didn't expect him to get sub. I still feel like his knee was a little bit sore. I don't think it's an injury, but it looked like his knee was a bit sore, and maybe that had to do with why he was the one to be chosen to be taken off. Also, the fact that he's, well, outside of Havertz, played the most from all of these guys in those positions. Maybe that's something to do with it as well. But what kind of annoyed me most about the day, like we were praising Cucurella's line-breaking passes today, and a lot of them fell to Felix. And there was 3 or 4 occasions where he really annoyingly badly miscontrolled the ball, where I'm like, if you controlled that properly, we could have had a strong attack here. But because he didn't control them right, we lost the ball, or it slowed the attack down at least because he had to like go with something. Those were the ones that, rather than that, I thought, and obviously that one switch play, rather than that, I thought he did so much wrong necessarily. There was smaller moments. I'm like, that wasn't quite it. So, like, we're still going ever so slightly above average, but hey, here we are.
But the smaller moments add up.
Yeah, no, exactly. Very well said. Very well said. Let's get to Raheem Sterling then. My God. I'm very lucky that there was no microphones and I was not doing a watch-along. Because if you people, or anybody, would have heard the things I was screaming at my TV when that Sterling situation, let me call it, happened, because, like, Chilwell crosses it. I see Sterling, like, starting to swing. And he misses it. I'm like, Sterling, you stupid. Like, what are you doing? And then I was in the middle of screaming. And all of a sudden, the ball's in. I'm like, I love you, Sterling. Like, it was crazy. Like, how this has happened, how he misses the ball, keeps it anyway. Royce tackles him. Sterling keeps it anyway. And then he scores. But it was so bad otherwise. It was actually hilarious how bad it was. So early in the game, Havertz was literally through one-on-one with the goalkeeper, straight in the middle of the goal. Yet Sterling, for some reason, decided to pass it to Joao Felix, who was at a much worse angle. Now, Joao Felix still created himself a very good chance from that situation. It was the very early shot from the tight angle that we talked about. But Havertz was in the middle, unmarked. I know Havertz isn't exactly known for taking his one-on-one chances, so I understand maybe. But, like, come on, bro. He's one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Why would you choose to play left? And then I know he was offside anyway, but then when he was played through, and he just didn't shoot. He just was hopping around like a little bunny, not doing nothing. And then the next one, he was offside again, which led to Havertz has obviously won the goal. That didn't count. But then he scored. But then there was also so many other moments where you just ruined it. the most impressive thing about Raheem Sterling today was his triceps. I'm not sure if you guys saw, but at just as the half-time whistle went, he was like kind of leaning on his own knees. My God, that man has a triceps. I would rather you have a big of a hamstring muscle because you look like you get slow and slow at the moment. Like, I was getting outpaced by fucking Schlotterbeck. I was like, what's happening? No, but Emre Can it was. I'm like, since when is Emre Can faster than Sterling? It was going crazy. But yeah, Raheem Sterling, I think his performance, taking away the goal, is a 5 at maximum. Genuinely.
Generous 5.
Yeah, no, exactly.
He ruined more than 5 attacks.
Exactly. But then that first goal was by far the most important goal. That first goal changed and decided everything for me.
And he almost messed it up 3 times. It took him 3 times.
Yeah, he did, but he did get there eventually.
I'm going to say this. I'll help out a little bit. I'm going to give him.
I'm going to give him the same 6.5 against Joao Felix for the goal. Maybe that's being nice for the goal, but just for my emotional health, that goal was so huge. He gets 1.5 for the goal. So hey, I have to do what I feel like is right, and I feel it feels unfair to me to give him less than Felix. So if anything, I would be more likely to give both a 6 than I would to give Sterling a 6 and keep Felix at a 6.5. Even if Sterling was, in the grand scheme of things, obviously much worse. But yeah, the goal was so big, I will still give him that 6.5. Adash. Oh, actually, the Enzo Fernandez rating has started to swing around. All of a sudden, we're back to a 7.5 by 51% currently. Sorry. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, again, we have over 360 people watching, so there's plenty of you still that can get involved in that poll. So please place your vote for Enzo Fernandez's rating between a 7.5 or an 8. I guess if you want to give him less than a 7.5, click 7.5, and if you want to give him more than an 8, click the 8. So yeah, you go with that. But Adash, do you think of? I know, Clutch, you were already trying to talk, but I will keep it for last to make it. I know how it's called in German, but not in English. You have like
suspense.
Yeah, the suspense, but it's a bow of suspense, isn't it? In German, at least, it's a bow. Well, regardless, I'm waffling now. Adash, 6.5. Is it too nice? Is it fair? What do you think?
See, if you just forget that any of the offside moments happen, if you just erase them from your memory, he wasn't terrible, but he was just offside the entire game. So that's what drove me absolutely insane. Every single time, when you're playing on the shoulder, you have to be able to time your runs a little bit better. Obviously, some of it comes from who passes the ball and stuff. There was also this one moment where Havertz passed in the ball. It wasn't even that fast. It was in Dortmund's half, and he was playing on the edge. So if he had ran towards goal, he would have had a 1-on-1. But he had this huge touch, which is he basically kicked the ball into the stands, and it was just control the ball, man. So that was there were moments like that were really infuriating. But like you said, the first goal was so pivotal. It kind of cancels out everything, because without the first goal, we don't go through. Probably.
Especially because it was just before halftime. Imagine we go into the break again at 0-0. You probably get you did against Leeds. Maybe you get a couple of boos at halftime, and then we know what we're like with coming out at halftime against Spurs. Took us 19 seconds to concede. So that goal, getting that goal before the break was so big that's why I gave it such a big extra.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I would probably give him a 6.5. Yeah, I think 6.5 is fair, probably. I think, yeah, like you said, I think it would be more apt to give Felix a 6 and then Sterling a 6.5. I think on balance of their impact on the game, I think Sterling with his goal was more impactful.
To be honest, if we give Felix a 6, I'd give both a 6, if I'm honest.
Okay, fair enough. Well, okay, then you know what? Let's stay positive. Give them both a 6.5.
Exactly. Let's try to stay positive. Otherwise, we'll have people come and put our throats.
Yeah. we don't know when's the next time we're going to be this happy. So we just got to milk it as much as possible.
Exactly. Great point. Exactly. Let's just sulk in it as much as we can while we can. Clutch, you were saying the 5 is even generous. I assume we're probably not going to give him 1.5 extra for the goal. But I assume you still agree that the goal was absolutely huge.
I agree with the 6.5.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say. Is like, I'm gonna be honest. Like, the man had 17 touches and 15 of them ruined an attack. So he was he was terrible in every sense of the word, especially comparatively when he's been as good as he has been when we've seen him the last few games. The problem is, like, this game, his goal did miles and miles of things for us. So you can't discount that. But at the same time, I can also say, like, that man got so lucky that he got the goal. Otherwise, we could be talking, like, literally in the 2s and 3s today for him. Agree. So he's lucky he got a goal. So I would give him a 6.5.
To be fair, I will also say, Marco Reus and Ziyech, you give him a 1.
I'm giving Ziyech a 1 or 1 on the bench. How do you feel about that?
Clutch has gone off the rails. He doesn't care about the chat anymore. No, I was gonna say also about Sterling's goal. Like, the keeper did really bad. Like, he was like on the ground basically. If he had just like held his stance, like the shot wasn't even that high. I think
as a keeper, I guess you kind of in that moment, because Sterling was so close where the shot was, he has to guess, and he just guessed one direction, and then for us, fortunately, and for the keeper, unfortunately, I guess he went in the middle.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's like fortunate, you know? It's like,
yeah.
I mean, if the keeper could have very well just like stayed on his feet, and then that's not a goal. So, yeah. I mean,
we will never know whether Sterling saw that the keeper moved, and that's why he went in the middle. We will never know for sure, I guess, but yeah, it's true.
That's all.
Sorry, I thought you might want to add something more. My bad.
No.
Oh, good. Yeah, I mean, well, no, we wouldn't. No, we wouldn't give Ziyech a 1 today if he scored the 1-0 against Dortmund today. Like, come on. If anything, Sterling is, along with Ziyech, Sterling is one of the few that we are, on average, so, like, most harsh to. So, like, you know, I don't think Sterling is the best example to say, oh, if it was Ziyech, it would have been harsher. But yeah,
I love the comments in the chat. Somebody
called, I do love them.
Ziyech,
sometimes I'm confused, but I do love them.
Somebody called Ziyech a false winger.
It's true. That's what he is. I agree.
It just reminds me of class ref calling false 8s and false 6s. I love that fucking thing so much.
That is funny. Enzo is a false 6. That's what he is. But I love him. Kai Havertz. I will do something that people might find a little bit outrageous, but I will give him the highest rating. I will give him a 9.5. And the only reason he's not getting a 10 is because he missed the first 10. Because I thought Kai Havertz was unbelievable today. The fact that he's the striker and he had 28 out of 32 accurate passes. The fact that he's the striker and he had the second most amount of recoveries in the team, only behind Enzo Fernandez. And I've looked at everyone's stats. I'm pretty sure he had the second highest. I will look through everyone again. But I don't think any of them had even close to 7 recoveries otherwise. Chilwell had 4. Reece James had 4. Kovacic had 5. I mean, Felix, I assume they didn't have anywhere near this. He had... Well, to be fair, actually, no. I take it all back. Felix had 8. So Felix actually even had more than Kai Havertz. Fair play. You think this is why we gave Felix a 6.5. But still, 7 recoveries as the striker is mental. 2 out of 2 tackles won. 1 out of 1 successful long balls. 3 out of 3 successful dribbles. Hit obviously the post and very unlucky not to score that one. 2 out of 3 aerial duels won. 5 out of 13 ground duels isn't amazing, but like, you know, for a striker, still deal with it. I genuinely think he was brilliant today. And none of these stats even consider the fact that he scored, if it was allowed, goal of the season. And he is already owner of goal of the season currently for his goal against Salzburg. And he basically did it again, maybe even a tiny bit better. I mean, how unlucky can you be? They hit the post, then he scores an absolute unbelievable screamer off the bar, gets disallowed. Havertz is not always this good. But today he was unbelievable. I wish he was always this good, because if he was always this good, no one would be debating anything. But yeah,
we just it's okay if you guys want to go
9 or 8.5 or whatever you guys are going to do. But I genuinely think that, other than missing a penalty, that was very, very close to, I don't want to say perfection, but brilliance. Let me say that. I think so anyway. Adash, do you agree, or do you think I'm going over the top a little bit?
To be honest, I think you might be going a little bit over the top. At least for me, He
That's
was
okay.
probably a little bit closer to an 8.5 or a 9. I think like, obviously the penalty was very, very lucky. I mean, if we didn't get that second opportunity, we could be talking about a very different game.
Absolutely. And about very different opinion on Kai Havertz if he missed it for us
Absolutely.
and then we don't win.
Yeah, but I think in general he played very well. He was like, he was trying to get in between the lines. He was trying to get in behind the defense. He was exploiting his pace. There were a couple moments where I thought he could have had a better shot on target, or he could have played a better pass, but I think in general he was playing very good link up. And I think when people like say he's a 10 and stuff, I think he's grown into this kind of like 9/false 9 role.
Played as a striker, false 9 for the last 3 years. Like,
Yeah, exactly. And it's not even as much of like a pure false 9. He's like turned into a 9. I remember we used to like there's like this word called tweener. They use like the something called tweener. So I mean, like when he first joined, I would call him a tweener. Like he was very not dominating physically. He wouldn't physically like impose himself, but I think now he's not afraid to. He's like grown into his body very well, and I think that contributes to why he's very dangerous on his day to play against, because he's kind of this like hybrid of a 9 false 9, so he has the attributes of both, and I think that makes him really dangerous like he was today. I wouldn't call close to perfection. I think that might be a little bit over the top, but I think he played very well. I'll give him a 9.
Fair. The one thing I would like to add, I think it's also noticeable how Kai finds it a little bit easier to be the striker when he's not still a fully like ideal striker in the 3-4-3 when the players around him are closer, while obviously the wingers in a 4-back system are wider. So therefore, they are further away from him. Yes, you have in a 4-3-3. I mean, the striker is basically completely on his own. In a 4-2-3-1, at least you have the 10 close to him, but it's still only one. I think it was very noticeable, even on Saturday and today, that Havertz finds it a lot easier to be good when he has the players a little bit closer to him. Will he ever learn to be a 9 if they're not as close to him? Maybe one day. He's only 23 still, but he's tried it for a while. At the same time, has he? Because we've not played back four for that long. So I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, it was good today. I mean, clutch. A 9 from Adash and 9.5 from me. What are you going to give Kai?
Adash makes a very good point that if he doesn't get the luck of encroachment, we'd be talking a very different game. I was going to say a 9.5 until he said that, and that did sway me back. Yeah. But I want to say, I think, for the most part, Havertz wasn't playing up top today. Sterling was. Havertz was on the right.
Havertz just moving everywhere, really. Yeah. Dropping right.
Sterling was the one who was mostly in the front. And Havertz was either behind or on the right-hand side of him. So I think it was just he had that freedom to roam a little bit, which gave him a lot more space to kind of do what he wanted. And also, he just had a really good game. I mean,
he also created 2 chances as well, which I haven't mentioned.
Yeah. I think how do you figure out what's the best for Kai Havertz? Because it's like there's so many things. Like you could say, oh, well, he has this strength, but he's not like a full 10 where his passing is what gets him done, So I thought he had a really good game. Oftentimes he's the one who takes the brunt of our fandom. And I think today, you know what? I'm going to give him 9.5 because of how much he's been slandered over the last 6 months.
There you go. We will give him that 9.5 then. I mean, you know what? Enzo Fernandez has, we have 228 votes here, but unfortunately for Jem and Enzo, it's 51-49 to the 7.5. But because I want to do another poll now, I need to end this one, and therefore Enzo and Kovacic sit there with a 7.5 at the end. Oh, and it now went to 52. So, that if we need to decide, there we go. Exactly. But ladies and gentlemen, I will give you the opportunity to vote for Kai's rating. I know we have 2 9.5, so that does sway it, but I would like to still just see what the chat says. I will give you the option between a 9 and a 9.5. Obviously, if you think it should be lower than a 9, still click 9 so we get a bit of an overview of what you guys think. And if you think it deserves the 10, obviously click the 9.5 regardless. So I will give a few more minutes for that one as well, and then we'll see what you guys have gone for. In the meantime, we will rate our substitutions. The first one being Conor Gallagher coming on for not Raheem Sterling, for Joao Felix, and then Loftus-Cheek came on for Kovacic.
Yep.
And Pulisic came on for Sterling.
Yep. And Zakaria for Enzo.
Zakaria for Enzo at the very end. There you go. I mean, I'm not sure if... I mean, Zakaria definitely doesn't warrant a rating. I think even Pulisic and Ruben don't, even though I think actually they both did really well. Gallagher is the main one that needs a rating, obviously. I mean, he had a goal. Unfortunately, Sterling was very close. It's weird because this one, this second blatant offside, well, not blatant, but this second decisive offside by Raheem Sterling was, according to whenever they stopped it in this semi-automated offside VAR thing, much closer than the first one, even though the first one in live picture looked closer to me. Why not Mudryk? I don't know. QX step. But maybe someone will finally ask Potter about it. I don't understand why journalists don't see that as a valid question. I mean, he might not give us the real answer, but you can at least try and see what he says about it. But at the same time, again, we won. Do I care who he brings on? No. Do you know what I mean? Maybe Mudryk starts on Saturday. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Maybe he just wants to save him from the 007. So that's why he's like, okay, I'm not going to use him. I'm just going to start him next game, and then he gets it.
Can I promote my tweet real quick?
Of course.
So I put out a tweet basically saying why I believe he doesn't, which is he's not going to play in the front three. He's just not. He's a wide winger. And a certain somebody who pays attention to all this liked that tweet just a little bit ago, Mr. Alex, Euro expert. So I wonder why we're not playing a more... Because he'd have to play as a wingback, is why he's not playing. In short.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can, like, there's a lot of tactical things. I will bring your tweet up now. But there's a lot of tactical tweaks that you can take. Now, I'm not as convinced on this, even though everything we know of him, this is true about. But I'm like, his career has been too short, and his career outside of Shakhtar has been too short for us to really fully judge whether he is able to play further inside or not, because I've only ever seen him play outside. So how can I judge whether he can play inside? You know, I'd like to see it tried, and then I can make a judgment on this.
I think Potter's just trying to save him from having that. Like,
sure,
I know what he is.
That is absolutely valid. Maybe he's also trying to ease him in, all sorts of different reasons. But you could also play an inverted wing back and leave Mudryk wide, even if you did play this formation. So, like, that's what I'm saying. You can take tactical tweaks. Like, if, for example, if you played Cucurella as the left wing back rather than Chilwell, you let Cucurella be an inverted wing back, and that allows Mudryk to remain wide. Like, you can do things to still make it work in this system, but I don't disagree with you. And also, like, you know, with how he's played recently, would you pick him over Felix? No, you wouldn't. Would you pick him over Sterling? At least Sterling, the last two games, his injury's been pretty good. Today was bad, obviously, outside of the goal. Would you pick him over Havertz? Now, definitely not after today. Before today, maybe, but then you'd have to put Felix in a position that he's not best at. So, yeah, Mudryk played well before. That's not what I'm disagreeing with. And he's also playing in the Champions League. But whenever he's played for Shakhtar, he's played as a wide winger. I haven't seen him as a more central, either winger or as a 10 or something. So I can't judge yet whether he's also able to play a bit more inverted than just out on the fully the wing. That's what I'm trying to say. But Clutch could still be right, absolutely. But again, whether we know, like, we still don't know if that's why Potter's not doing it or if Potter has other reasons, I guess. Because I was wrong in terms of that he didn't come on as a sub against Spurs in that last game before Leeds, but he still hasn't started in God knows how long. Like, you know, and we were playing back fours for a lot of that. So I don't think it's just as simple as a formation reason, but who knows? At the end of the day, I don't know a full conclusion, but I think Clutch has a good guess or a good, I don't know, reasoning at least. I do see a logic behind it. Adash, I will let you go first and Conor Gallagher. Like I say, scored the goal, but obviously was disallowed. Wasn't quite as much of a banger as Havertz's disallowed goal, but still would have scored a goal. He worked his socks off. Like, again, I'm not necessarily his biggest fan. Sometimes his touch lets him down, his pass lets him down. But I do think he's a good player to bring on when you're seeing out a result. Someone that will chase after everything, someone that has a good bit of pace for a counter-attack. He can cross, he can shoot better than he can pass. So, you know, a good player to bring on in situations like this. And I thought he did okay. I'm not really sure what rating I want to give him, but do you know what rating you want to give him, Adash?
I have absolutely no idea what rating I want to give him. let's see. What did he do? Oh, he
completed 2 out of 3 passes. So that's
you don't want to look at his stats. You really don't want to do that. You'd give him a 2.
Bad.
They're not great.
No, they're not great, but they're not that bad. He only had 9 touches. It was only on the pitch for like 15 minutes. So like,
Conor Gallagher's best attribute is that he's gonna run like hell and press people, and that's what he did.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
And to be honest, that's also what he came on
have...
for. That was his job. So I guess he did his job.
Yeah. Who would have thought Conor Gallagher has more of a future at Chelsea than Mason Mount?
Well, Mount was suspended. He probably would have come on had he not.
Well, I mean, in general, I mean, looking forwards, I think in the summer, who's more likely to leave is definitely Mount.
I think both of them were likely to leave, if I'm being honest.
Okay, that's a different...
I still feel like Mount will stay. I know the media and everyone's telling us right now he will not, he's not, but I feel like eventually Bowley will just be like, well, no, I can't let Mount go. So I would just give him less years of a contract and then Mount would just sign it. I think the main problem seems to be, rather than wages, seems to be years. So I think Bowley will not really want to sell Mount because he's already, with the whole Potter situation, he's already on kind of, well, a little bit of war with some of the fan base. I'm like, I don't think he will want to sell Mason Mount personally. So that's why I think eventually we will get a contract. But I could be wrong, obviously. Clutch, you were trying to say something.
I think it has more to do with Felix than it has anything to do with anything else. He's not going to get the playing time that he did. He's not going to be anywhere near that 3,000 minutes anymore if Felix comes in. He's just not going to be around.
Very true.
And he's going to be a guy who's going to be like, I can go to Liverpool.
If we're not making the Champions League, do you really think Felix will join?
That is a good point. I don't know.
If you don't get Felix and you lose Mount, well, then we need to buy another 10. You know, like, is that what you want? Or make
we want the kid from Russia, whatever his name is. I can't say his name.
Zakarian, but who knows whether we can? We couldn't sign him in January. Can we in the summer? Who knows? Doesn't look like anything stopping at the moment, but there's still a few months to go, so who knows? But yeah, let's take it back to Gallagher. Adash, I want you to go first. Do you want to just give him a 6, or do you want to give him a little bit higher than just the average 6? What do you want to do?
Yeah, I'll probably give him a 6.5. I think, positivity. I'm a positivity merchant this stream.
I love it, bro. I absolutely love it. I would probably agree. I'm like, well, I didn't really see you do much, if I'm honest, but you weren't bad, and you helped us win the game. So 6.5 is. That's my logic. Clutch. What about you?
I don't got anything else to say. I mean, it's a decent logic. I thought he did what he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that you said something very important. I don't think he comes on if Mason Mount's around, because him and Mason Mount would have the same role. But the fact that he is coming on now and he's still doing his job and he's still running like hell to do what he's got to do for the team to make sure we win. Even if the rest of it isn't well, he's doing the base minimum to see the game out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, we have over 100 votes already on Kai Havertz. Currently, the 9 is winning by 53% to 47. Let's try to get a few more people into the poll. Still have nearly 300 people watching, so place your vote in the poll at the very top of the chat. Please do, and we will finalize that rating towards the end. I think we can probably all be in agreement. Pulisic and Ruben came on in the 83rd minute, even though there was 6 minutes of added time. And Zakaria came on in the 87th minute. So I think we're just better off giving them both an NA rather than trying to make up ratings that we don't really have explanations for.
I do want to say for Pulisic, two things. First of all, if you're going to run to the corner at the end of the game, don't lose the ball. If you're going to lose the ball, then you might as well play the pass that's like open to a player who might score. Don't run all the way to the corner just to lose the ball 3 seconds later. And also the other thing was, thank God he was offside, because that was a horrendous miss.
Did he miss that?
Oh, he missed it. It was horrendous.
I thought he scored that.
No, he put it like, I think it put it like probably this far wide, maybe.
Mate, but still. Come on, you have to score that.
Yeah, no, yeah, he has to score it. But to be the way he shot, he looked like he was aware that he was offside. So that's when I'm always a little bit more lenient if I think you knew. But yeah, so I do agree on that, on what you're talking about. When he was trying to run to the flag and Emre Can just mugged him right off with a great tackle. But there was also a moment before when he mugged the Dortmund guys off with a nice turn, played it like turned around, came centrally, kept the ball, and in the end we created a chance on that. Wait. When did we score the second goal, actually? What minute was it? 53rd. It was quite early, to be fair. But yeah, let's give them all an NA. And let's go to Graham Potter. Well, he's sure coached a win today. He already coached a win in Dortmund if our players took the chances. But thankfully for him, he coached a win today and the players took enough chances for us to go through and qualify through to the last 8 of the Champions League. But what do we think? Without going into too much detail, we'll probably do another stream at some point later in the week and talk about this in a bit more depth. But have these last 2 games saved the job until at least the end of the season for him? What do you think, Claude? Do you think at least making the quarterfinals, almost no matter what happens now, he will get at least to the end of the season?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was the plan regardless. I mean, maybe if we lost last weekend and then we lost then fan pressure probably would be. But now that he's qualified, I think they were just like, we're just going to let him have the rest of the season. Which, fair enough. If that's what you want to do, let him see what he can do. I mean, I know a lot of people are like, well, if we get a better manager, we can win. We're not winning the Champions League. Just relax. I mean, it can happen. Stranger things have happened. But
I will say one thing. Graham Potter is a significantly better manager than Roberto Di Matteo is, and we won the Champions League in 2012. So never say never.
I mean, like I said, anything can happen. But if anybody thinks like Luis Enrique comes in and we win the Champions League, get your head a wobble because it's not happening. You have as much chance with Graham Potter as you do with Luis Enrique right now. Might as well just see where it goes. And in the summer, hey, let's hope somebody better's available, and then we can go for it if you still believe the project isn't there. But for now, just let him have the end of the season. He did what he needed to do. He reverted back to the basics of what he knew at Brighton, and he's getting results.
And what he knew the team knows.
Yeah, so I think at this point, you can't argue a 7, I guess. I mean, maybe even an 8. You know what? I'm going to give him an 8 because expectations for me were going out. So, and he blew away my expectations.
Well, there you go. Fair enough. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because I agree. Like his job, in my opinion, was safe today. For at least until the end of the season. Now it depends on how the rest of the season goes. Something like this by Jacob Huggins. Maybe should also be mentioned because a lot of people, not maybe necessarily me, because I don't put too much emphasis on things like this because I'm like, there's no right or wrong in terms of acting on the sidelines. Either you're a good manager, you're not. That shows on what happens mostly on the training pitch. In-game management, changing things, I agree, that was a fair criticism, but you can change things without shouting around. But today he was giving instructions. He called Kai over to him once as the game was stopped, and he gave him extra instructions. He did the same thing to Reece James. Now, one thing I'm not sure, because I'm not at every game, does he do that more often and I just don't see it and the cameras don't pan to it? People that will be at Stamford Bridge every week or at most games, they will know that. He didn't do it in Dortmund. That's all I can say. And at least not that I noticed it, and I try to pay attention to it. But when we criticize something, he did do that today. He was right into it. So put poll in the chat. The poll is in the chat. So I guess we can do a Potter poll as well. But ladies and gentlemen, first, vote for your Kai Havertz rating. It's again 52 versus 48. Isn't that interesting? But again, place a few more of your votes. It's 127 votes right now, and we still have 260 of you here. So get doing that. And I will, after I'm myself and Natasha done with Potter's rating, I will give you a quick chance to place that one as well. But a little bit of a problem I have is that I'm like, okay, so it worked again now a little bit, but that's not what. Seemingly, at least, maybe we're wrong, but seemingly the hierarchy, and by that I don't necessarily mean Bowley or Ekbali, but I mean the likes of Vivo and Stanley and Joe Shields and these people, and Potter in a way as well, they seem to want to play a back four. We sign players to play a back four. Like,
I mean, I don't think we should get it twisted. This is done out of desperation. It's
no,
not
absolutely.
done,
But that's where my question for Potter comes from. Was I'm like, okay, you tried a back four for 4 or 5 months, and you didn't really ever improve it. And as soon as you go back to the back three, it worked not amazingly, but better, especially today. So sure, today was also a case of the team will turn up for this one game that hugely matters still. They will turn up a lot more today than they do against Southampton in the league at the moment. Absolutely. But if we hired Graham Potter for a project, for a process, and reverting back to what Thomas Tuchel did anyway, and what Potter did initially after taking over from Thomas Tuchel, other than having a much more ball-playing left centre-back compared to Tuchel, is that enough? Like, because if that's what we're doing, there is also like you might as well hire Conte. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna try and play back three and be back three merchants, then you either send an apology letter to Tuchel and see if they can make up somehow. And poor Tuchel has maybe learned to deal with someone like Todd Bowley while he was out in India. Maybe he's found some inner peace, and that will help him deal with the American in his group chat. So all Tuchel really needs is understand his do not disturb button. Then everything would have been fine anyway. Seemingly, fucking WhatsApp chat pissing him off. My God, Tuchel, he was acting like.
Why are you asking me who players I want?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, on today's rating, I will agree. I will give him an 8 because you know what? No. As much as we've been critical, as much as I said Potter out, on purely today, I will even give him a 9 because what more can I ask from him? He did what he had to do. He played the players that needed to play. The subs worked. I mean, we won the game. He coached an even better result than we got because our players are still kind of incapable of scoring. I will even give him a 9 because, I mean, this was, let's not get things twisted here. This was the biggest game of Graham Potter's entire career. And he did not flop. He did not fumble. He did not crumble. He, if anything, proved a lot of that. What happened? I didn't expect it to. Sorry, I had to follow up to see what's happening. But yeah, so I will say that, like I say, he turned up today. Fair play to him. Adash, a lot of waffle from myself and Clutch. What would you give Potter on the day? But also, what do you think on my point? And Clutch, if you want to add something to that in a minute as well. What... Like I say, is this enough now, reverting to the back three and going for results? But realistically, us not having really changed anything from last year, other than a bit of personnel.
I don't know. I mean, to me, I saw a lot of really good at some points, at least to me, and maybe this is just my view, but I saw us playing a lot of intricate one-touch play, a lot more direct passing that I don't think we saw in the back four under Potter, and we didn't even see it in the back three under Tuchel as much. I thought that was a really good sign of I mean, it's the same general system, but that has some of Potter's imprints on it. I thought that was good. My big concern is, like you said, I mean, we know this is a big problem with our current squad, even though we've brought in these new players that they'll turn up for this game. And then after this, they'll turn up for the next 2 Champions League games. After that, they're probably not going to turn up for any of the other Premier League games. That to me is the bigger concern. So can he kind of rally the troops and show some improvement in the games that don't matter? That's the big thing that I didn't see under Tuchel as well. And I think that's something that Potter hasn't shown at all. I mean, even in the big games, he hasn't played well. But at least today we saw something positive. But I think, yeah, he coached a really good game. He was pragmatic. He didn't think, well, let's go back to the 4 at the back. He recognized that this is what the players are comfortable in, and he found a way to kind of get it working in a way that he wants it and in a way that would help us win the game. So I would probably give him, I think it was a combination of both the players and him. I don't think it's fair also to just say, he coached the win. I think it was also some of the players did turn up, had really good games, put in really solid shifts. But I would probably agree on the 8.5, probably right in the middle.
Okay, fair enough. Ladies and gentlemen, in the chat, I will give you an option now for the chat. I will start at a... what will we start with? I guess we'll start with that one. I'll start at a 7.5, go to an 8, 8.5, and a 9 because I can only give you 4 options. I don't think many would go higher than a 9, so I hope I'm giving you enough options here to pick your rating. Because the Havertz one between 9 and a 9.5, genuinely after over 160 votes, finished at 50-50. So I guess because we were 2v1 on the 9.5, that's what he will get. But yeah, Clutch, anything you would like to add in terms of what I said? Like I say, is this enough now? I know we both agree he will now get until the end of the season, whether we think that's right or not. But is that enough? You can't just pressure's on, you need to win, and then the solution is to go back to what the team know rather than what you've taught them over the last 5 months. Now, eventually, you might still teach them, and they might still be capable of the the back four in whatever system, whether it's 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, whatever else it may be, eventually that might happen. No, Mason, come on. He won in Milan and at home. He's won some big games, but not many. I will say that, not many. But yeah, well, what do you think of that, Clutch? Because like, imagine if now against Leicester we also go back 3 because this team seems balanced and we want to get a few wins under our belt now. At what point Mount was suspended, Amir, because he picked up a yellow card in the last game in Dortmund. But like, if he goes back 3 again against Leicester, then at what point do you then revert back to the back 4? Like, you know, I'm genuinely not sure.
It's a good question. I mean, I'm going to start with like the main difference I've seen from TT to Potter is we seem to be passing the ball a lot quicker. Under TT, we didn't pass the ball that quick. We kind of were slow and tried to more pragmatically do what we had to do. Now, the problem that I see is if this was the plan to go to a back 4, why was Potter the manager hired? Makes no sense to me. Like he's been a manager who's been very successful with the back 3. So, like, obviously, that's what he knows best. So
I mean,
why are we?
What we don't know, I suppose, is what Potter told the owners, right? Maybe Potter says, well, actually, I want to play a back 4, but at Brighton, I had the 2 to the back 3. So I guess at Chelsea also do, but that's why we're trying to sign players to change that eyes up. So that could be the case. That he is like, well, actually, I want a back 4, but Brighton just suited the back 3 more, so that's what I did.
I mean, me and you have sat here for the last 2 years and said Chelsea would operate a lot better in a back 4. The only problem is we don't have a DM. That's the big problem. I mean, let's look at United, right? United's the main thing the reason why they're so successful right now is they've got Casemiro. Easy. It's not that hard. Like, it's really not. And we've been trying to, we're not scoring enough goals. Well, you're not scoring enough goals because you're putting players that aren't goal scorers in positions to score goals. Mason Mount was our leading goal scorer. He's not a goal scorer. He just played the most minutes. That's it. That's the reason why he scored the goals. So,
but he didn't just score 1 goal more than the next one, though. So,
what do you have last year? 11 in total?
I genuinely don't know.
I think it was 11. I think it was 11, which was like 3 more than Kai. And
but Kai had the second most minutes, though.
Yeah, and again, I agree. Yeah. I agree. But you should be using players that are better in the positions that we need them for. We played Pulisic on the wing. We played Ziyech as a wing back. Ziyech as a wing back. And Mason Mount as a front 3 attacker, which I think is it's probably the best.
But I will also say if Joao Felix keeps the goal scoring form up he has so far, even over a season with as many minutes as Mount got last season, he would score less goals than Mason Mount.
I agree.
So I'm just saying, and look how much most people are praising Joao Felix.
People think Joao Felix is the goal scorer. He's not, and they're going to be very shocked when they find out.
But neither is Mason Mount, and still he got the most goals.
Exactly. That's the point. Stop playing players that have the most minutes. Play a creator. Felix in the middle. Then you're going to have goal scorers around him. Sterling's a goal scorer. Havertz, I don't know, but it's the only opportunity. I'm not willing to say Aubameyang yet. I'm ready to die on that hill. Aubameyang stays off the field.
David Dutch or Fofana?
No, because we bought him to be a loan army product, and that's probably where he'll go next year. And then whoever you want on the left wing, I don't care. If you want to do Mudryk, Pulisic, I don't care. Sterling on the left wing, Nani on the right, I don't care. But play players that are goal scorers. That's what you do. Players who have more natural instinct to go out there and goal score. Find a partner for Enzo. Is Kovacic going to work long term with Enzo? No, he's not. It's just not going to happen. Find somebody to pair with Enzo. It's just simple things. There's reasons why the back 4 doesn't work, but we're trying to use Enzo as a deep lying midfielder.
We'll works see better how it works with Kante, I guess. By the time we get to the quarterfinal, you'd expect Kante to be fit and stuff. So
I've said this to Pius, though. Pius knows that we've had a lot of discussions within the group chat that have gone very awry at times.
Yeah. It does happen. It does happen. To be fair, Joao Felix might not be the best goal scorer, even though his season at Benfica he actually scored quite a few goals. But he's certainly a fortune teller because he say in the press conference yesterday that Kai Havertz would score. So he did. What happened today? Kai Havertz scored. Joao Felix, just send him to every press conference and tell him to say Kai Havertz will score. Fixes our whole season, apparently. But
Potter sent him to divination. That's a good joke for you Potter fans.
Clutch, that was a bit boomer, I can't lie.
It was.
But we move. It is what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, what a night, what a day. Through to the last 8. It sounds much better to say last 8 than quarterfinal. Even though quarterfinal sounds like 4 and 8 is 8, obviously. But why am I coughing? It's time to stop this stream. But yeah, last 8, quarterfinals to Champions League. I'm excited. We have more Champions League games next week, so the draw will only take place next week. I assume next Thursday, maybe Friday. We'll have to see. We will be doing a stream for it, but I haven't figured out when it is. But we will be doing a stream for it. So let's see how that one goes. Let's see who we get. Maybe another away day. Maybe and in quotation marks, easy draw in Benfica. Even though they will have, my God, that was wrong with me. Yeah. They will have a lot of points to prove against us. But to finish things off, Cedric with the super chat, appreciate it very, very much. He says, back to winning ways. Perfect result today. Yeah, I could not agree. Well, I mean, a third goal would have been nice just to, like I say, rest my heartbeat a little bit for the last 10, 15, 20 minutes of that game. Especially when Bellingham missed that chance. Some Dubois tweeted, if Bellingham had a Pakistani passport, he'd be worth £5 million. I mean, that's...
I'm not allowed to laugh at that.
I don't know why he used the Pakistan. Like, you could have just said German. Do you know what I mean? Like, because then what matters is the English part. But who is the fella talking? That's me, Jacob. But before that, I was Clutch. That's Clutch. You should know. But yeah, Cedric, big shout out to you. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you to everybody watching. I appreciate you all that have tuned in. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe. That would be massively appreciated. Hit that like button on your way out. It doesn't cost you any money. Barely costs you any time. And you might as well. Let me just quickly check. We've only had 61 votes because I didn't really tell you guys enough. But hey, if you want to super quickly place your rating for Graham Potter, please do. Currently, the 8 is winning with, lost the percentage now, 38%. Second is actually 7.5 with 25%, 8.5 on 18 and 9 on 18. Although the 7.5 is a bit skewed because there's probably a few people that would like to say 7 but can't, and therefore it adds up on the 7.5. But hey, here we are. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to round this one out. Thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea, upwards and onwards, into the quarterfinals, and we'll see you next time.